So I find something very interesting that really piqued my interest. I ran across an article, and this is what I do because I am the occult view. I am Seer Grant. Okay. Hit up my Patreon. Let me say that first. Let me get that out of the way. Hit up my Patreon. I have a badass money ritual on my Patreon account. You have to pay for it, but hit up my Patreon. I will post the link to my Patreon in the video description box. I have a badass money ritual that is there for Black people and Black people only. Okay, hit up Patreon, buy the ritual. It works because I did it myself. It's my own ritual that I came up with myself. It came to me in a dream. I did it, and my money issues are practically over. Okay. Not saying that you won't ever have money issues, but this will definitely open up a flow of money to you. So hit up my Patreon and I'll put that in the video description box. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Jeff Epstein. I believe that's how you pronounce his name, or Epstein. I don't really give a fuck, but you know who I'm talking about. The billionaire that killed himself in jail. He was in jail for child pornography and child sex crimes and all kinds of horrible shit. Now, what I find interesting is this. I already had a gut feeling that that motherfucker faked his death and he had help with it. Okay? Somebody came out today, and it was a black dude, of course. It was a nigga. Somebody came out today and said that he did not believe that Jeff Epstein was really dead. And what I find, or rather, what I found to be interesting was the fact that the court system felt or deemed it was necessary to publicly announce that they have dropped all charges against Jeff Epstein. If that motherfucker is dead, right? If he's dead, why would they need to drop the charges? And why would they need to make that public if that motherfucker is really dead, which I don't think he is? So, people with a lot of money, and they probably have been doing this for years, this is probably nothing new, but I'm just speaking on it now because it's on my mind, and that's what I do because I'm the occult view. So, people with a lot of money that are rich, when they are facing multiple charges like he was facing, and when they are entangled with other people that are also involved in the same nefarious, disgusting activities, such as the Clintons, they fake their deaths in order to evade the inevitable consequences of their actions. Because I'm going to tell you something, he was going to talk and start naming names of big name people in politics. And for a long time, people have been saying that the Clintons allegedly have had their hand in child pornography and child sex rings and shit like that. People have been making these accusations for years that allegedly the Clintons have been involved in these types of things. Very interesting. But I don't think that that motherfucker is dead. I think he faked his death. Okay? I think he faked his death to evade the inevitable, which is being murdered, or just dying in jail. He had enough money to make that motherfucking shit happen. What we are seeing, and people may not be recognizing it, especially a lot of you blind, mind controlled niggas, what people are seeing is the destruction and the downfall of what we call the institution of white supremacy. White supremacy is dying rapidly. See, that is what people see, that is what we are not seeing as niggas, as so called conscious niggas. We're not seeing it. We are too wrapped up into the distraction. And of course, we have to address the distractions. We do have to address when we are being mistreated. Of course, we do. We have to address that motherfucking shit. I'm not suggesting that we don't. Let me say that. Of course, we have to address that and deal with that accordingly. Of course, we do. But at the same time, we have to recognize what is happening. See, on an occult level, I see what they don't want us to see. I see it. Let me say that again. On an occult level, I see what they don't want us to see. And what they don't want us to see is the destruction, not only of this matrix, but of white supremacy as we know it. White supremacy is dying. And they need a motherfucking fix. They need something. They need a patch-up job. They need something to help it stay intact. So what do? I'll tell you. They start doing reboots of old television shows like Dynasty. Dynasty, the original Dynasty, and I was a fan of the original Dynasty when I was a little boy. I think every gay guy wanted to be Alexis Carrington Colby. At some point. But or loved Alexis Carrington Colby. Everybody loved Alexis. Every gay guy I know, everybody loves Joan Collins, okay? She's a gay icon, or whatever the case may be, you know, as an actress and as that character, Alexis. I'm not talking about personally. Let me be clear about that. But as Alexis, that was a bad motherfucking bitch. She played that motherfucking role. I won't take that away from her. On that. She played that motherfucking role. Joan Collins made that motherfucking show. Real motherfucking talk. But Dynasty was about a rich white oil or oil rich family, the Carringtons and the Colbys. And the entire premise of that show was white supremacy, white greed of the 1980s, because the original show came out in 1980, 1981, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it came out in 1980, if I'm not mistaken. And what we have to remember is, if it came out in 1980, I believe it did. Let me be sure. Because there's a point that I want to make. Dynasty. I believe it came out in
an American television series that first aired in 2017 and stars Elizabeth Gillies, Natalie Kelly, and Grant Show.
Give me a second, y'all. I'm still looking. That's not the one that I wanted to look up. I want to look up the original Dynasty, not that one. See, the original one is not coming up. Okay, the original dynasty started in 1981. That was up under the vibration of the number one. A new cycle had begun, or begun rather. A new cycle had begun in 1981. So it was a new agenda for a new cycle. So remember in the 1980s was all about greed and excess. Greed and excess in everything. That is what the 1980s was all about. Dynasty was a symbol for white supremacy. So was Dallas a symbol for white supremacy. Okay? They tried to do a reboot of Dallas, but that didn't work because Larry Hagman passed away and he was the show. J.R. Ewing, he was the show. Now they have a reboot of Dynasty that came out in 2017 under the same vibration, the number one, as the original Dynasty in 1981. They both came out under the same vibration, under in different years, of course, but under the same vibration, the number one, which goes back to the beginning to start a new cycle, a new fucking agenda. The original Dynasty. Now, I will give the original Dynasty this much. It did not depict Black people in stereotypical ways. And I've said this before in other videos, but this new fucking Dynasty is shady and racist as a motherfucker because it has Black people back 50 years being butlers and maids and all kinds of stereotypical bullshit. And when I think about it, when I really think about it, it really makes sense as to why Black people now are so fucked up, especially Black men here in DC. It really makes sense as to why they're so divided and don't like other Black people. They only want to deal with white people. It really makes sense because this is the mind control that they're up under right now because of all of these motherfucking reboots, which are nothing more than resets. Reboot is the same thing as reset. And they're trying to do what they're doing is a reset. They're trying to do a reset to make things go back to the way it was, but it's not fucking working. So this is the point that I'm making. White supremacy is falling. White supremacy is falling, and we're not paying attention to it as Black people because we're still so much up under the mind control, through interracial dating and interracial this and kumbaya this and kumbaya that. We're so much up under that bullshit that we can't see what's really happening in front of us. We can't see what's happening in front of us, which is the fall of white supremacy. So the reboots like 90210, Dynasty, and all of these other reboots, the reason that those are all rituals. Those are all rituals, and they are attempts to stabilize the matrix and to pull that energy from those time frames where white supremacy was at its most potency or where it was at its most power. Okay? 80s and the 90s, a lot of white supremacy. May not have been, out in public the way it is now, but it still maintained a certain power and control over people at that time. What's happening now, because Cthulhu is rising and waking up, the subconscious mind, it's shutting the shit down. So they have to do these reboots of these old television shows, which are rituals, to pull that energy from those time frames to try to do a reset of that energy to try to stabilize the matrix and to stabilize white supremacy. Maybe not stabilize it. Maybe that's the wrong word, but y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. So when we're seeing people like, when we're seeing shit like this happen, where rich motherfuckers like Jeff Epstein or and other people are committing suicide and all this shit is happening, when we see shit like this going on, that's because they know something is coming. They know that their destruction is coming. And I'm just going to say it just like that. They know what the fuck is going on, but they don't want to cause, what do they call it? Not a pandemic. What do they call it? They don't want to cause hysteria. So all of these reboots that they're doing, let me say it again, from Dynasty, they tried it with Dallas, but like I said, it didn't work because Larry Hagman, he died early on in the series of the reboot, the character of JR. Now they're doing it with 90210 because they're trying to reset. They're trying to reset things to a time where white supremacy had a stronger hold on the minds of black people. And that was definitely in the 80s and the 90s as well. There were conscious people back then, but it wasn't as public as it is now. Black consciousness and stuff like that. So that's why we have these reboots. We have reboots of movies and shit like that. That is why Ryan Murphy, the creator of American Horror Story, that is why that motherfucker is making an entire season 9, which is coming up, which I will be watching. Season 9 of American Horror Story will be about the year 1984, which is up under the vibration of the number 4. We're getting ready to go back into that vibration. And I made a mistake in another video where I said the last time we were up under the vibration of the number 4 was in 1984. No, actually, it was in 2002, if I'm not mistaken. The last time we were up under the vibration of the number 4 was in 2002, if I'm not mistaken. But now we're getting ready to go back up under that vibration. Right now, we're up under the vibration of the number 3. And the number 3 is all about manifestation and growth. So right now, they're in the manifestation stage of whatever they want to fucking do. And of course, they're using our motherfucking melanin to fucking do it. But here's the problem. Because our subconscious mind is waking up, whether we want it to or not, a lot of us, or the 1% of us, the rest of these motherfucking niggas are dead. I say let them stay dead. Who gives a fuck? You want your white, a lot of you black men, you want your white men, you want your white women, you want all that, then you have them. You have them and you will share in whatever goes on with them. Okay? You want to water down your genetics? Go right ahead and do that. That's on you. I ain't got nothing to do with you niggas. But, and I'm not talking, and let me be clear about something. I'm only talking about those niggas who have lost all sense of themselves. A lot of black men fuck black pussy. Okay? A lot of black men fuck white pussy. Okay? But they don't lose a sense of who they are. There's a difference. There's a fucking difference. It's a lot of conscious black men who fuck black pussy, but they don't mistreat other black people because they do. You feel what I'm saying? That's where you motherfucking niggas got it fucked up, but that's another fucking video. Okay, and I done lost my point going off on that tangent. But no, we're getting ready to go back up under the vibration of the number 4. And I find it very interesting that Ryan Murphy is making an entire season of American Horror Story based on that vibration. It's going to be called 1984. Very interesting. Okay? But white supremacy is shutting down. It's shutting down. And that is why they keep putting up all of these fucking distractions to keep us distracted from the fact that their shit is dying off and shutting down. No matter what they show, no matter what they say, it is shutting down. Just like that video that went viral, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago, of this racist white bitch down in North Carolina or South Carolina. She walked up on some black women talking some motherfucking racist shit. That video went viral. My question is, this is my question. They never showed the black women that she, verbally attacked and viciously attacked. They never showed them. But then they gave this bitch all of this motherfucking airtime. Has anybody ever questioned why they did that? I mean, it's obvious why they did it, of course. Because we live in a racist ass motherfucking country. Facts. But on an occult level, has anybody ever really questioned why did they give that white woman all of that time? Well, I'll tell you why they gave her all that airtime was because she's part of the distraction used to keep us locked into a certain way of thinking about white people and to keep us locked into that fear and into that illusion that these motherfuckers have power when they don't. They are afraid right now. That is why we're seeing more and more distractions like that weak bitch who walked up on those black women and talked that motherfucking shit. Now, me personally, if I were one of those black women and she did that to me, I would have said some words to that bitch, not cursing her out. I would have said some words in some tongue, some magical words. Okay, I would have said some magical words, and then I would have went home. See, I don't need your personal object to fuck you up. I would have went home to my altar. I have a specific altar that I deal with motherfuckers like that bitch right there. I don't need your personal object. I would have went home and I would have done what I would have done. I would have said the words to her. She wouldn't have known what the fuck I was talking about. She probably would have said, "You're a crazy motherfucking nigger." And I would have said, "Okay." Then when I would have came home and got to motherfucking work. That's what I do. And I would have destroyed that bitch's motherfucking life. Let me say it again. I would have destroyed that bitch's fucking life for directing that fucking negative energy towards me. I would have destroyed that bitch's life. Not physically, but spiritually. White supremacy is dismantling rapidly, and they are afraid. So again, when you see motherfuckers like Jeffrey Epstein or Epstein, however you pronounce that motherfucker's name, when you see people like him faking their deaths, you know something is up. He knows something is up. He knows something is up. And I remember I was having a conversation with a friend a few years ago. No, not even a few years ago, last year. And we were talking about how all of this shit was going to end up happening. How all of this shit, and I did a reading on, actually, I did a reading on my old channel where I talked about, I predicted all of this shit was getting ready to happen. That you were going to see a lot of powerful motherfucking white people come crumbling and crashing down. But see, as an occultist, I'm looking beyond the fucking glamour and the fake and the facade. I'm looking at what's really the fuck going on. And there's a lot of fear among them. They are afraid. That is why they keep trying to reboot everything. Listen to the word reboot. 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 Reset. And here's another question for you. Why haven't they rebooted any black shows? I'm trying to think because I don't want to be incorrect about this. But why haven't they rebooted any black shows? I'm talking about real black shows. Now, I know they had that little, thing they did with the Jeffersons, which was good, but that wasn't really a reboot. That was only for one day or that one night. That wasn't really a reboot. White supremacy is falling, and it's falling rapidly. This is the end time that people were talking about. Ain't got nothing to do with us as niggas. And it's not our end time. We never have an end time. This is about them. This is their end time. But they tried to entangle us in it in that fucking fake fraud ass fucking Bible. But this is their end time. This is their end time. That is why they're so afraid. And that is why the energy is so dense and flaky on the planet, because there's a lot of fear going on right now. There's a lot of panic going on right now. But my question remains, why haven't they rebooted any black shows? You notice they haven't rebooted any black shows. They're only doing the white ones. Check that motherfucking T. And then on the reboot of Dynasty, the Colby family, they turned them into a black family. But even with that, it's still in a degrading way, because the character of Diane, the character that Diane Carroll played, Dominique Devereaux, she's a Colby in the reboot, and she betrays her own son. So even that is mind control right there. Even that is depicting black people in a negative way. So people can't say, oh, well, the Colby family is a rich black family. Yeah, it is. They're taking on that mantle that the white Colby family had, but not quite, because the white Colbys, they had money. I mean, they had money out the ass. The black Colby family, they have money, but not like the white Colbys in the original dynasty. That's what I'm saying. So white supremacy, like I said, is dismantling. So when we see people like Jeff Epstein and all these other motherfuckers, trying to get out, you know what I'm saying? See, remember in the movie Get Out, they had a lot of subliminal messages in it. Wasn't just talking to black people. Wasn't just talking to black people, you see. And in that movie, symbolically, they were talking about how white people were some kind of way, they were transferring their brains into and consciousness into black people's bodies. It's almost like the invasion of the fucking body snatchers. And remember, that movie came out in 2017, the beginning of a new cycle up under the vibration of the number one, back at the beginning to push a new motherfucking agenda. So it's no question, and it's not surprising now that I look at things in a less emotional way. I understand why niggas are acting so fucking crazy right now. I get it. I understand what the fuck the giddy up is now. I get it. Because white supremacy is dismantling, and niggas that depend on that, they're losing their motherfucking minds along with their white masters. So the low vibrational niggas, they're losing their minds and acting crazy and acting out because their energy is aligned with those lower vibrational others. So that's why they're so crazy and out their fucking mind, and they smoking all this fake fucking weed and shit like that. And that brings me to the next topic that I wanted to talk about. They came out with an article today, and they said in the heading of the article, "This ain't the weed your mother used to smoke." I said, are these motherfuckers watching my fucking videos or something? I know they're not. I don't have that many subscribers, and I'm not that relevant here on YouTube. But isn't that what I told y'all the other day? I'm talking about specifically here in DC. Nowhere else. I'm talking about the niggas here and how they fucking act. Because this weed they smoking now, they act like crackheads here. And I was talking about that with a friend the other day. The weed that these niggas smoke in DC, They act like crackheads. I've been around people who smoke real motherfucking weed and they cool, they chill, and they got a good motherfucking personality. But these motherfucking niggas, they act aggressive, they act crazy, they act psychotic because they're not smoking real motherfucking weed. Y'all feel me? So they're telling people, they coming out telling you motherfucking niggas that they're giving you bullshit. They telling you niggas in DC that they're giving you bullshit. They're not giving you the real motherfucking weed to smoke. As a matter of fact, the real motherfucking weed, they're doing experiments on that motherfucking shit to understand it because they probably want to use it for some type of shit that's sinister. Who knows? Who the fuck knows? Who knows? But they telling you in the fucking article, this ain't the weed your mother used to smoke. But yet but yet they legalized it in a lot of states, including here in the District of Columbia. They legalized it. They didn't legalize it because they thought it was the right thing to do. They legalized it because you niggas ain't smoking no motherfucking real weed. It's fake. And I'm going to keep on saying that because that's what I know. That's what I know. It's not what I think, it's what I know. But anyway, I just wanted to come through and I wanted to expound upon that. And I might come back through with another video because there were some other things that I wanted to say, but it kind of slipped my mind because I always go all over the place to make a point, but I might come back through when I remember what I wanted to say within this video. Thank you for listening. This is the Occult View, aka Sia Grant. Hit me up on my Patreon if you want to know the money ritual that I did. I will put the link to my Patreon in the video description box. Thank you.